Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles, back again for another review. This time it's the Bandai Star Wars movie realization Sohei Darth Maul, and what an amazing figure it is. Bandai are certainly taking their time in releasing these figures, particularly new molds. They do a lot of repaints, but if their new molds are of this sort of quality and style, I'm definitely up for the wait. This Darth Maul is probably among my top 3 figures in the movie realization series so far, and there's probably only one nit to pick that I can see with it, and I'll get to that shortly. But if you're familiar with the series, you'll know the box art. So they've got the nice cover art there with the figure, and then the various shots of the accessories and figure on the back there. And overall, I think they've done a fantastic job with the accessories. The first one up, of course, is Darth Maul's iconic double-bladed lightsaber. This time, of course, in this Oriental scimitar style. And of course, you can take them apart. Now, I actually thought that it did look a little bit unsightly with this little knob on one end, but looking in the instruction manual, luckily, you can remove it. So if you do want to display him holding both in 2 hands, you can. And the detailing is really nice. I love the use of the translucent red plastic like they did on the Darth Vader lightsaber, and the hilt here nicely painted with that sort of gold detailing there and the silver, and you just sort of insert that tip in there, and just make sure to have the blades facing in the opposite direction. So it looks like that, and together it does look pretty damn fantastic. So I love that style. I think I was scared there for a while because one of the conventions, I guess one of the employees had it rotated the wrong way, and so it looked like that, which obviously doesn't look anywhere near as good or accurate. So having it like that with the cutting edges like that, as you can swing it around, is definitely the way to go. So absolutely beautiful the way they've done that. It comes with an assortment of hands, so you get his I guess nice force push hands there, and the detailing in the armor is nice. I do like the sort of rust detailing in between all the grooves and so on. So it looks really nice. Just to heat them up in hot water to swap out the hands. I always do that on these figures, and it makes it much easier. So you have the force push, and then you have the 2 fisted, or the lightsaber holding hands like that, and the figure comes default with the fisted options. The other accessory is the mask, if I can actually focus. And I'm definitely glad that they added this option during the prototype photos and so on. It wasn't really discussed that it was going to be a mask, so there was a bit of confusion about why there were some photos where he looked like that and like that, and essentially it's an option where I guess the warriors back in the day might have had masks to wear to scare the opponents or intimidate the opponents, and this one here, I guess his default face is pretty intimidating already, as you can see. And the mask, it is a bit flexible in plastic around there, so you just flex them out over the top there. And I might do that off camera because there is a warning in the instruction manual to be careful in that it could rub off some of the paint, and you definitely don't want to rub off any red paint on the nose here. So I'll just be a bit careful and give you guys a look at what it looks like over there. Once you sort of stretch out the plastic on the edges here, it's not too hard, and it just sort of lightly sits on top, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I'll just give you guys a look at that. Hold on. Alright, so here he is with his mask on. So you just sort of stretch it out over the left and right horns there, and over the middle horn, and it sort of sits over his eyes like that. It sort of juts out a little bit over the top. And it doesn't look too bad, but I definitely prefer him without, like that. And so I might just have him holding his lightsaber in one hand and holding his mask up in the other as a warning, so to speak. And the mask itself is a beautiful sort of shiny, no, I wouldn't say it's metallic, but just sort of a glossy red paint application, and the gold teeth there just look fantastic as well. So love that accessory. But I'll give you guys a run through of the figure and the articulation now. Hold on. Alright, so from what I can see, doing a quick comparison against some of the other figures in my collection, it looks like pretty much all the parts are pretty much unique for this. I don't see too many other pieces with any of these particular additions, and even the patterning I think is fairly unique, and I do love the way he's got sandals on his feet there. But I'm starting from the top, of course, the head sculpt, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Some people have mistaken the eyes as claws or horns, but to me they look more like almost flames coming out of his eyes, which I think is a beautiful little touch. And the overall paint application is fairly good. I mentioned a knit to pick before, and the knit is some of the red definitely bleeds onto the gold horn, so I have tried to rub the red off on some areas. So on the top horn here I've managed to get most of it off. I can't get much more off on this particular horn here, and I only just noticed the one on the rear here. So I might just try and I don't know if you would use a sandpaper or anything like that, but just a damp cloth or something just to try and rub that off. But other than those issues, I think everything else with the paint application is pretty much spot on. And the way they've done the face there, the sculpting, the details on all of his tattoos and so on, is a beautiful interpretation of this particular style. The head does have some pretty decent articulation, so it's on a double joint, so there's a lower neck section here and the upper neck, so you can look up quite a bit and you can look down quite a fair way as well. So it doesn't look too bad from the rear, with a bit of gap there, but not too bad. This whole sort of necklace piece, I actually thought it was going to be separate beads, but it is a single molded piece that's joined at the top here and then separated at the front, and it sort of just sits there. It doesn't look too bad, and it does sit fairly naturally, so you just sort of have it like that, and it doesn't look too bad. The shoulder pads here, as always with these figures, they're on these little ball pegs that do move up and down to give you that range of motion, and these ones are brand new. I'm not sure what these are called. All the other ones are sort of shoulder pad armors. This one looks like some sort of traditional fabric thing. So I guess Sohei in Japanese is I think a warrior monk or something like that. So maybe this is the sort of costumes that the monks used to wear. But again, the detailing and moulding on this is very nice. The outfit itself is not symmetrical, so you'll see the moulding differences on both arms there. So this one comes down a bit further than this side. Now, I'm just looking at it again, maybe I'm incorrect, maybe it is symmetrical. Maybe it's just the way I had it rotated and so on. So it could be symmetrical, now that I look at it again. But regardless, I think it doesn't really hinder the articulation too much with these flares here. You can get his arms out quite high, and you can bend his elbows. You just need to find that groove there, and you can bend his elbows a bit more. So there is a double jointed elbow and double jointed knees as well. The torso section here, there is the upper rotation, and then this sort of free floating piece allows him to sort of have the ab crunch and a bunch of range of other motion, and it is all sort of flexible plastic, so his range of motion in the legs is pretty good too, and you can get his legs up fairly high and bend his knees. You can probably extend it past that, but I won't bother pushing that too far. And there's a double jointed knee joint there, which is hidden pretty well as well, so I do like the way they've designed that. And then all of this is just sort of soft plastic for the rope ties there, and the skirt or the kama here. So again, nicely painted and detailed. and his pants there on the bottom. And the shin armors here are nicely done again. I do like, as I was saying before, the rusted sort of paint application. And the sandals. So I'm not sure if it looks like he's wearing socks or something, but I would have thought they'd put some sort of, like it'd have some claws or toenails or something like that if he was wearing thongs, but it looks like he might be wearing some sort of sock or something. But I do love that design. Again, just be careful on how you rotate them. There's no real easy way to do the ankle rocking motion on these. You sort of have to rotate the joint and then sort of fumble about to get his feet flat. I did try it on one of my earlier figures and actually snapped the ankle right off. So just be careful when you do that. But other than that, the articulation is pretty much on par with all the other figures in this series. But the overall design of this particular new mold is absolutely fantastic. I love the sort of jade green belt here that I forgot to mention, and all the way around there. So again, some beautiful design work by Bandai in this series. So I might just pose him up and give you guys a quick comparison with some of the other figures in the collection and finish off the review. Hold on. Alright, so here's a comparison of the new Darth Maul with the original release Darth Vader on the right and the Royal Guard on the left. And together, I have to say, they look absolutely fantastic together. This series of figures just keeps getting better and better, and hopefully they do release some more new molds in 2018. They did do some awesome concept art of the Gamorrean Guard, IG-88, I think even Queen Amidala. So hopefully they keep going and don't just start doing repaints over and over again. There is the Jango Fett that I'll be reviewing up next, so hopefully you can click that like and subscribe button and stay tuned for the Jango Fett review. But they also have the Shadow Trooper coming out, I think in December as well, or maybe that could be January. And then after that they do have the spear holding, I think it's called the Yari Stormtrooper. But they haven't announced any more new molds or characters as yet, but hopefully they do that soon in early 2018. So hopefully you like that quick look at the new Bandai movie realization Darth Maul. It's a fantastic figure, and if you're into this series of figures, it's pretty much a must-have, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So definitely get out there. You can get it from a whole bunch of toy stores like Big Bad Toy Store or AmiAmi, Hobby Link Japan, etc. So definitely get on board with this series. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.